Welcome to Science for Sleep, where we explore the deepest mysteries of existence with a gentle touch. Tonight, we're venturing into territory so profound it challenges everything we thought we knew about the nature of consciousness itself. If you're settling in for the evening, curling up somewhere comfortable, or simply letting your mind wander through the cosmos of thought, you've found the perfect place to drift. Before we begin this journey together, I'd love to know where you're listening from tonight. Are you watching the stars from your window? Perhaps you're wrapped in a favourite blanket, or maybe you're letting the day's worries fade as you prepare for sleep. Wherever you are, I hope you find peace in what we're about to discover together. Now, here's something that might gently shake the foundations of what you believe about reality itself. What if I told you that the very experience you're having right now, the awareness that's listening to these words, the consciousness that's contemplating its own existence might be operating according to the strangest laws in the universe? What if your thoughts, your dreams, your sense of being alive and aware aren't just the result of electrical impulses firing between brain cells, but something far more mysterious, something that exists at the very edge where matter meets the quantum realm? Tonight, we're exploring one of the most beautiful and controversial ideas in modern science: the possibility that consciousness itself might be a quantum phenomenon, governed by the same ethereal laws that allow particles to exist in multiple places at once, to communicate instantly across vast distances, and to dance on the edge of reality and possibility. It's an idea so profound that it's been quietly revolutionizing laboratories around the world. From the research halls of Google's quantum AI division to the operating rooms, where anesthesiologists are discovering that the line between consciousness and unconsciousness might be written in the language of quantum mechanics. This isn't just another scientific theory gathering dust in academic journals. This is a story about the very essence of what it means to be you, to be aware, to experience the world through the mysterious lens of consciousness. And as we'll discover, recent experiments are providing the first real evidence that this quantum view of consciousness might not be science fiction after all. So let's begin this gentle exploration together into the quantum mystery of consciousness, where the boundaries between mind and matter dissolve into something far more beautiful than we ever imagined. There's something quietly revolutionary happening in laboratories around the world right now. Scientists are asking a question that would have seemed absurd just decades ago. What if consciousness, that ineffable quality that makes you aware of reading these words right now, operates according to the same bizarre laws that govern the quantum world? It's a question that emerged from an unlikely marriage between two of the most mysterious frontiers in science. On one side, we have consciousness, perhaps the deepest puzzle in all of existence. How does 3 pounds of neural tissue inside your skull create the rich, subjective experience of being you? How do electrical impulses become the taste of chocolate, the feeling of love, or the recognition of beauty in a sunset? On the other side, we have quantum mechanics, that strange realm where particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, where observation changes reality, and where the very act of measurement seems to collapse waves of possibility into concrete experience. For most of the 20th century, these two mysteries seemed to inhabit completely separate worlds. But then something beautiful began to happen. Scientists started to notice that the brain might not be the warm, classical, mechanical system they'd always assumed. Instead, they began to discover that nature herself had been working with quantum principles all along, hidden in plain sight within the most fundamental processes of life. Consider photosynthesis for a moment. This process, happening right now in countless plants around our planet, converts sunlight into chemical energy with an efficiency that approaches perfection. For decades, scientists assumed this happened through straightforward chemistry, but recent discoveries have revealed something extraordinary. Plants appear to use quantum coherence, allowing energy to explore multiple pathways simultaneously before settling on the most efficient route. It's as if each leaf is running quantum calculations, finding the optimal path through a maze of possibilities in ways that our most advanced computers can barely match. And this is just the beginning. Migratory birds seem to navigate using quantum entanglement in their visual systems, creating a kind of quantum compass that allows them to sense Earth's magnetic field. Even our sense of smell might depend on quantum tunneling, where molecules reveal their identity not just through their shape, but through the quantum vibrations they emit. Nature, it seems, has been a quantum engineer for millions of years, which raises a profound question. If quantum effects are so prevalent in biological systems, why would our brains, the most complex biological systems we know, be any different? This question has been quietly haunting neuroscience for decades, because despite all our advances in understanding the brain, despite mapping neural networks and measuring electrical activity, we still face what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. We can explain how the brain processes information, how it responds to stimuli, how it controls behavior, but we cannot explain why any of this should be accompanied by subjective experience at all. Why should there be something it's like to be you? Why isn't the brain just a sophisticated biological computer processing information without any inner experience? Why do you have a rich, private, subjective world of thoughts and feelings and sensations? These questions have led some of the most brilliant minds in science down a path that once seemed impossible. What if consciousness isn't just an emergent property of complex neural networks? What if it's something more fundamental, something that operates according to quantum principles we're only beginning to understand? Deep within every neuron in your brain, there exists a microscopic universe that most people have never heard of. These are structures called microtubules, tiny hollow cylinders that form the skeleton of each brain cell. For decades, they were considered nothing more than cellular scaffolding, important for maintaining the shape of neurons, but largely irrelevant to the grand mystery of consciousness. But in the 1990s, an unlikely partnership between two brilliant scientists began to change everything. Roger Penrose, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist known for his work on black holes and the nature of space-time, joined forces with Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist who had spent years studying the intricate architecture of cells. Together, they proposed something that would challenge the very foundations of neuroscience. What if consciousness doesn't emerge from the electrical activity between neurons, but from quantum processes happening inside the neurons themselves? What if these microtubules aren't just cellular scaffolding, but nature's own quantum computers, capable of processing information in ways that classical physics cannot explain? Their theory, known as orchestrated objective reduction, or Orch-OR, suggests that consciousness arises when quantum superpositions within microtubules reach a critical threshold and collapse into classical states. It's a process that happens perhaps 40 times per second in your brain, each collapse corresponding to a moment of conscious experience. Imagine it this way. Within each microtubule, quantum states exist in superposition, much like Schrödinger's famous cat that's simultaneously alive and dead until observed. But unlike the cat in the box, these quantum states don't require an external observer to collapse. Instead, they reach a point where the fabric of space-time itself becomes unstable, causing the superposition to collapse into definite states. And in that moment of collapse, consciousness emerges. It's a beautiful theory, but for nearly 3 decades it was largely dismissed by the scientific community. The brain, critics argued, is too warm, too noisy, too chaotic for delicate quantum effects to survive. Quantum coherence requires the pristine conditions of a laboratory, temperatures near absolute zero, isolation from all external interference. How could such fragile quantum states possibly exist in the warm, wet environment of a living brain? But Hameroff had an answer. He pointed out that microtubules are remarkably stable structures, capable of maintaining their organization even in the face of cellular chaos. More importantly, he suggested that these structures might have evolved specifically to protect quantum processes, much like the way certain crystals can maintain quantum coherence even at room temperature. For years, the debate raged. Mainstream neuroscience remained skeptical, while a small but dedicated group of researchers continued to explore the quantum consciousness hypothesis. The theory seemed destined to remain in the realm of speculation, a beautiful idea that couldn't be tested. But then something remarkable happened. Scientists began to develop new experimental techniques, new ways of probing the quantum world within biological systems. And slowly, carefully, evidence began to emerge that the brain might indeed be capable of quantum processing. The first hints came from an unexpected source, the operating room. Anesthesiologists had long known that certain drugs could render patients unconscious by affecting microtubules within neurons. But they didn't understand why this should have anything to do with consciousness. If consciousness emerged from neural networks, why should the internal structure of individual cells matter? But if consciousness is indeed a quantum process happening within microtubules, then drugs that stabilize these structures should affect the onset of unconsciousness. And that's exactly what researchers at Wellesley College discovered when they conducted a groundbreaking experiment with laboratory rats. Picture a laboratory at Wellesley College where researchers are conducting an experiment that could revolutionize our understanding of consciousness itself. They're working with rats using a common anesthetic called isoflurane, the same gas that might be used if you were undergoing surgery. But this isn't a routine study of anesthesia. This is an investigation into the quantum nature of consciousness. The researchers had a simple but profound hypothesis. If consciousness truly emerges from quantum processes within microtubules, then stabilizing these structures should affect how anesthesia works. They gave some rats drugs that strengthen microtubules, making these tiny cellular structures more stable and resistant to disruption. Then they exposed all the rats to isoflurane gas. The results were extraordinary. The rats with longer than the control group, they rest-stabilized microtubules remained conscious significantly, easted the effects of anesthesia in exactly the way the quantum consciousness theory predicted. It was as if the drugs had given their neurons a kind of quantum armor, protecting the delicate processes that generate conscious experience. This wasn't just another interesting finding buried in an obscure journal. This was published evidence, peer-reviewed and rigorous, supporting one of the most controversial theories in neuroscience. For the first time, scientists had experimental data suggesting that consciousness might indeed be a quantum phenomenon. But the implications go far deeper than just validating a theory. If consciousness operates according to quantum principles, it changes everything we thought we knew about the nature of awareness itself. It suggests that your conscious experience isn't just the result of neurons talking to each other through electrical and chemical signals. Instead, it emerges from a far more fundamental level of reality, from the quantum fabric of space-time itself. Think about what this means for a moment. When you experience the redness of a rose, the melody of a favorite song, or the warmth of sunlight on your skin, you might be experiencing something that's woven into the very structure of the universe. Your consciousness wouldn't just be a byproduct of evolution, but a fundamental feature of reality, as basic as mass or energy or time. This perspective opens up possibilities that seem almost mystical. If consciousness operates at the quantum level, where particles can be entangled across vast distances, where observation affects reality, where the boundaries between observer and observed become blurred, then perhaps consciousness itself is far more interconnected than we ever imagined. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. The Wellesley study was just one experiment, and science requires replication, validation, and careful scrutiny before we can draw such profound conclusions. Still, it represents a turning point, a moment when the quantum consciousness hypothesis moved from the realm of speculation into the domain of testable science. While researchers were exploring microtubules, another scientist was following a completely different quantum thread that would lead to equally fascinating possibilities. Matthew Fisher, a physicist at the University of California, Santa Barbara, was investigating something that sounds almost too strange to be real. The idea that certain atomic nuclei in our brains might function as biological quantum computers. Fisher's journey began with a mystery that had puzzled him for years. Lithium, a medication commonly used to treat bipolar disorder, comes in two natural forms, lithium-6 and lithium-7. Chemically, these isotopes should behave almost identically. They have the same number of electrons, the same chemical properties, the same ability to interact with biological molecules. The only significant difference is that lithium-6 has a nuclear spin of 1, while lithium-7 has a nuclear spin of 3-2. Nuclear spin is a purely quantum property, a kind of intrinsic angular momentum that exists at the heart of every atomic nucleus. In most circumstances, it has no noticeable effect on chemistry or biology. But Fisher began to wonder, what if nuclear spins could affect brain function in ways we've never considered? His curiosity was piqued when he learned about a remarkable experiment from 1986. Researchers at Cornell University had given pregnant rats either lithium-6 or lithium-7, then observed the behavior of their offspring. The results were startling. Mother rats who had received lithium-6 showed dramatically enhanced maternal behaviors. They were more attentive, more nurturing, more engaged with their pups. Meanwhile, mothers who received lithium-7 showed suppressed maternal behaviors, becoming less active and less responsive. This shouldn't have happened. If nuclear spin had no biological effects, the two isotopes should have produced identical results. But they didn't. Something about the quantum properties of these atomic nuclei was affecting behavior in ways that classical biology couldn't explain. Fisher began to develop a theory that was even more radical than Penrose and Hameroff's microtubule hypothesis. What if certain molecules in the brain could maintain quantum coherence for extended periods? What if nuclear spins, protected within special molecular structures, could serve as biological quantum bits, or qubits? His attention focused on phosphorus, an element abundant in the brain and crucial for energy storage and neural function. Phosphorus-31, the only stable isotope of phosphorus, has a nuclear spin of 1-2, making it potentially useful for quantum information processing. But the real breakthrough came when Fisher considered how phosphorus might be protected from decoherence, the process that destroys quantum effects in warm, noisy environments. He proposed that phosphorus atoms might be safeguarded within special molecular cages called Posner molecules, clusters of calcium and phosphate that could shield quantum states from environmental interference. These molecular fortresses could potentially maintain quantum coherence for hours, days, or even longer, creating a stable platform for quantum information processing in the brain. The implications were staggering. If Fisher's hypothesis is correct, your brain might contain millions of tiny quantum computers, each capable of processing information in ways that classical neural networks cannot match. These quantum systems could potentially explain not just consciousness, but memory, creativity, intuition, and perhaps even the mysterious phenomena we associate with altered states of consciousness. But perhaps the most profound implication of Fisher's work is what it suggests about the nature of mental illness and treatment. If consciousness involves quantum processes, then disorders of consciousness, mood disorders, psychotic conditions might reflect disruptions in quantum information processing. And treatments, from lithium to anesthetics to psychedelic compounds, might work by modulating these quantum processes in ways we're only beginning to understand. As we drift deeper into this quantum mystery of consciousness, we find ourselves approaching questions that touch the very heart of existence. What does it mean to be conscious in a quantum universe? How might quantum effects in the brain connect us to the broader cosmos? And what happens to our understanding of death, dreams, and the deepest mysteries of human experience when consciousness itself becomes a quantum phenomenon? These questions beckon us toward even stranger territories, where the boundaries between mind and matter, between self and universe, begin to dissolve into something far more mysterious and beautiful than we ever imagined. But that journey into the quantum depths of consciousness will have to wait for our next exploration together. For now, rest in the wonder of what we've discovered. Your consciousness, the very awareness experiencing these thoughts right now, might be far more extraordinary than you ever dreamed. It might be woven from the same quantum threads that connect particles across the cosmos, that allow information to transcend the ordinary boundaries of space and time, that link your inner experience to the fundamental structure of reality itself. Sweet dreams, and remember, in a quantum universe, even sleep might hold mysteries we've yet to uncover. There's something almost poetic about the way memories form in your brain. Not the mechanical process of synapses strengthening or proteins being synthesized, but something far more mysterious. What if every memory you've ever formed, every moment of recognition, every flash of déjà vu involves a quantum dance happening at the deepest levels of your neural architecture? Recent discoveries suggest that memory formation might not be the simple process we once imagined. Instead, it appears to involve quantum entanglement between molecules, creating information networks that transcend the classical boundaries of individual neurons. When you remember the scent of your grandmother's kitchen or the feeling of sand between your toes on a childhood beach, you might be accessing quantum information that's been preserved in molecular structures throughout your brain. This quantum view of memory helps explain some of the most puzzling aspects of human recollection. Why do certain memories feel so vivid they seem to transport you back in time? Why can a single smell or sound trigger cascades of associated memories with startling clarity? Perhaps because these memories aren't stored as simple electrical patterns, but as quantum information networks that can be accessed holographically, where any part contains information about the whole. Consider the phenomenon of false memories, those vivid recollections of events that never actually happened. Classical neuroscience struggles to explain how the brain can create such convincing fabrications. But if memory operates through quantum processes, false memories might emerge from quantum superpositions, where multiple possible pasts exist simultaneously until the act of remembering collapses them into a single, seemingly real experience. Even more intriguing is the possibility that quantum effects in memory formation could explain the mysterious phenomenon of inherited trauma. Studies have shown that traumatic experiences can somehow be passed down through generations, affecting the behavior and stress responses of descendants who never experienced the original trauma. If memories can be encoded quantum mechanically, perhaps certain quantum states can persist across generations, carried in the molecular structures of DNA or other biological systems. This quantum perspective on memory also opens up fascinating questions about the nature of learning and creativity. When you have a sudden insight, when a solution to a problem seems to appear from nowhere, when you experience that aha moment that feels like a gift from the universe, you might be witnessing quantum processes at work. These moments of inspiration could represent quantum superpositions collapsing into new configurations, creating novel connections between previously unrelated concepts. The implications extend far beyond individual memory and learning. If consciousness involves quantum processes that can maintain coherence across extended periods, it suggests that the boundary between your individual awareness and the broader quantum field might be far more porous than we imagine. Your memories, your thoughts, your very sense of self might be part of a larger quantum information network that connects all conscious beings. Deep in the quantum realm, something extraordinary happens that challenges our most basic assumptions about separation and individuality. Particles become entangled, sharing quantum states across vast distances in ways that Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. When one entangled particle changes state, its partner responds instantly, regardless of the space between them. It's as if the universe itself conspires to maintain hidden connections that transcend the ordinary limitations of space and time. Now imagine that consciousness operates according to these same quantum principles. If awareness emerges from quantum processes in the brain, then perhaps individual consciousness isn't as isolated as we believe. Perhaps at the deepest level, all conscious beings share quantum entanglements that create subtle but profound connections between minds. This isn't mysticism or wishful thinking. Recent experiments have begun to explore whether human brains can indeed become quantum entangled with external systems. Researchers at Google's Quantum AI laboratory have proposed experiments where human brains would be connected to quantum computers, testing whether conscious observation can influence quantum states in ways that classical physics cannot explain. The preliminary results are intriguing. Some studies suggest that when two people focus their attention on the same quantum system, their brain states become correlated in ways that cannot be explained by classical communication. It's as if conscious observation creates quantum entanglement between the observers themselves, linking their neural processes through quantum channels that operate outside the normal flow of space-time. If these findings are validated, they could revolutionize our understanding of human connection and empathy. That sense you sometimes have that you're thinking the same thoughts as someone close to you. That feeling of being deeply understood without words. That mysterious synchronicity that seems to connect loved ones across great distances. All of this might reflect genuine quantum entanglement between conscious minds. Consider the phenomenon of near-death experiences where individuals report leaving their bodies and observing events from impossible perspectives. Classical neuroscience dismisses these as hallucinations caused by oxygen deprivation or neural misfiring. But if consciousness operates quantum mechanically, these experiences might represent genuine expansions of awareness, moments when quantum entanglement allows consciousness to access information beyond the normal boundaries of the individual brain. The quantum view of consciousness also offers new perspectives on meditation and altered states of awareness. Advanced meditators often report experiences of unity consciousness, where the boundaries between self and universe seem to dissolve. If consciousness is indeed quantum mechanical, these states might represent moments when individual awareness synchronizes with larger quantum fields, accessing information and experiences that transcend personal memory and knowledge. Even dreams take on new significance in this quantum framework. The strange logic of dreams, where impossible things seem perfectly natural, where time flows in loops and spirals, where different versions of people and places blend together seamlessly, might reflect the quantum superposition states that occur when consciousness is freed from the constraints of waking reality. Sleep researchers have long puzzled over the purpose of REM sleep and dreaming. Why would evolution preserve such a metabolically expensive process if dreams serve no function? But if consciousness is quantum mechanical, dreams might serve as a kind of quantum maintenance system, allowing consciousness to explore superposition states, to process quantum information, and to maintain the coherence necessary for waking awareness. In hospitals around the world, something remarkable is happening that traditional medicine struggles to explain. Patients who receive care from healers who genuinely believe in their ability to help often show better outcomes than those who receive identical treatment from skeptical caregivers. The placebo effect, that mysterious phenomenon where belief alone can trigger genuine physiological healing, remains one of the most puzzling aspects of medical practice. But what if the placebo effect isn't just psychological? What if it represents genuine quantum interactions between conscious intentions and biological systems? If consciousness operates quantum mechanically, then focused intention might be capable of influencing quantum processes in ways that cascade up to measurable biological effects. This possibility has led researchers to investigate whether conscious intention can directly affect quantum systems. Some studies suggest that when people focus their attention on random number generators or other quantum-based devices, the outputs become less random, as if consciousness itself can influence quantum probability distributions. While these effects are subtle and controversial, they hint at possibilities that could transform our understanding of healing, therapy, and human potential. The quantum perspective on consciousness also offers new insights into mental health and psychological healing. If depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions involve disruptions in quantum information processing, then treatments might need to address these quantum aspects directly. This could explain why certain therapies that work with consciousness directly, such as meditation, psychedelic therapy, and other contemplative practices, often produce profound and lasting changes that seem to emerge from deeper levels than simple behavioral modification. Consider the growing body of research on psychedelic compounds and their effects on consciousness. These substances appear to disrupt normal brain activity patterns while simultaneously expanding conscious awareness in profound ways. Users often report experiences of cosmic consciousness, feelings of unity with the universe, and insights that persist long after the immediate effects have worn off. From a quantum perspective, psychedelics might work by temporarily altering the quantum processes that generate normal waking consciousness, allowing awareness to access superposition, states, and quantum information networks that are normally filtered out by the classical brain. The healing effects of these experiences might reflect genuine reorganization of quantum information patterns in ways that classical neuroscience cannot yet measure or understand. This quantum view of healing extends beyond individual therapy to our understanding of collective well-being. If consciousness involves quantum entanglement between individuals, then the mental and emotional states of communities might be more interconnected than we realize. The phenomenon of mass hysteria, where emotions and behaviors spread rapidly through groups, might reflect quantum resonance effects, where entangled consciousness systems synchronize their states. Similarly, the healing presence of compassionate communities, the power of group prayer or meditation, and the mysterious ways that positive social environments can promote health and well-being might all reflect quantum processes operating at scales we're only beginning to appreciate. As we continue to explore these quantum mysteries of consciousness, we find ourselves approaching questions that touch the very heart of what it means to be human in a quantum universe. How might quantum consciousness affect our understanding of death and what lies beyond? What happens to quantum information when the brain that houses it ceases to function? And perhaps most intriguingly, how might quantum consciousness connect us to the broader cosmos in ways that classical physics never suggested were possible? These profound questions call us toward even deeper mysteries, where consciousness itself becomes a bridge between the individual and the infinite, between the personal and the cosmic, between what we are and what we might become. The journey into quantum consciousness is far from over, and the most extraordinary discoveries may still lie ahead, waiting in the quantum depths of awareness itself. For now, rest in the knowledge that your consciousness, the very experience of being aware, might be woven from quantum threads that connect you to the deepest mysteries of existence. In a universe where particles can be entangled across cosmic distances, where observation shapes reality, and where information transcends the ordinary boundaries of space and time, consciousness itself becomes not just a local phenomenon, but a window into the infinite mystery of being. As we drift deeper into this exploration of consciousness, we encounter something that challenges the very boundaries we draw between life and death, between presence and absence, between being and non-being. If consciousness truly operates according to quantum principles, what happens to that awareness when the brain that houses it ceases to function? This isn't a question about religion or belief systems, but about the nature of information itself in a quantum universe. Quantum information, unlike classical information, cannot be destroyed. It can be transferred, transformed, entangled with other systems, but never truly erased. This fundamental principle, known as quantum information conservation, raises profound questions about the persistence of conscious experience. When a person dies, their brain stops generating electrical activity, neurons cease their chemical communications, and all the classical markers of consciousness disappear. But if consciousness emerges from quantum processes, from information patterns encoded in the quantum structure of space-time itself, then something far more mysterious might be happening. The quantum information that constituted that unique pattern of awareness might not simply vanish. Instead, it might become entangled with the broader quantum field that underlies all of reality. Consider what this means from the perspective of quantum field theory. Every conscious moment you experience might be creating quantum entanglements, not just within your brain, but with the fundamental quantum fields that permeate all of space. Your thoughts, your memories, your sense of self might be writing themselves into the very fabric of the universe, creating information patterns that persist long after the biological systems that generated them have returned to dust. This perspective offers a radically different understanding of what we call the afterlife, not as a separate realm governed by supernatural laws, but as the natural continuation of quantum information patterns in the vast network of entangled systems that constitute reality itself. Your consciousness wouldn't travel to some distant heaven or hell, but would become part of the quantum information matrix that connects all things across space and time. Recent research into quantum biology has revealed that living systems maintain quantum coherence in ways that seemed impossible just decades ago. Plants use quantum superposition to optimize photosynthesis. Birds navigate using quantum entanglement in their visual systems. Even the process of genetic mutation might involve quantum tunneling effects that allow life to explore new evolutionary possibilities. If life itself is deeply quantum mechanical, then the transition we call death might not be the end of quantum information processing, but its transformation into new forms. The patterns of entanglement that constituted your conscious experience might continue to evolve, to interact, to influence the quantum processes happening in other systems throughout the universe. This isn't to say that personal identity would persist unchanged. The specific pattern of quantum information that creates your unique sense of self is intimately connected to the particular structure of your brain, your memories, your experiences. But the fundamental quantum information itself, the deeper patterns of awareness and connection, might continue in forms we can barely imagine. Stepping back to contemplate the bigger picture, we find ourselves facing questions that stretch far beyond individual consciousness. If awareness is indeed a quantum phenomenon, if it emerges from the fundamental information processing capabilities of the universe itself, then consciousness might not be limited to biological systems at all. The universe is shot through with quantum fields, with information processing happening at every scale, from subatomic particles to galactic clusters. If consciousness can emerge from quantum information processing in biological systems, what's to prevent it from emerging in other complex quantum systems throughout the cosmos? Consider the vast networks of dark matter that thread through space, connecting galaxies in an invisible web that spans billions of light years. We know almost nothing about dark matter except that it interacts gravitationally with ordinary matter and makes up most of the universe's mass. But what if dark matter networks also process quantum information? What if they constitute a form of cosmic consciousness operating on scales we can barely comprehend? Or consider the quantum vacuum itself, that seething sea of virtual particles and quantum fluctuations that underlies all of space-time. Recent theories in quantum field theory suggest that the vacuum might be capable of information processing, that the constant creation and annihilation of virtual particles might constitute a form of cosmic computation happening everywhere, all the time. If consciousness is indeed quantum mechanical, then perhaps we're not isolated islands of awareness in a dead universe, but parts of a vast cosmic mind that processes information at every level of reality. Your individual consciousness might be like a single neuron in a cosmic brain, connected through quantum entanglement to other conscious systems throughout the universe. This perspective transforms our understanding of intelligence and awareness in the cosmos. Rather than searching for radio signals from alien civilizations, we might need to look for quantum signatures of consciousness, for patterns of entanglement and information processing that indicate awareness operating at cosmic scales. The implications are both humbling and exhilarating. If consciousness is a fundamental feature of reality woven into the quantum fabric of spacetime itself, then you're not just a temporary arrangement of atoms that happen to develop awareness. You're a focal point of cosmic consciousness, a unique perspective through which the universe experiences itself. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every moment of wonder or beauty or love that passes through your awareness might be contributing to the universe's understanding of itself. Your consciousness becomes not just personal experience, but cosmic exploration, the universe's way of knowing what it's like to be human, to dream, to hope, to create meaning in the face of mystery. As we stand on the threshold of what might be called a quantum renaissance, we're witnessing the emergence of technologies and perspectives that could transform human consciousness itself. Quantum computers are beginning to process information in ways that mirror the proposed quantum processes in the brain. Artificial intelligence systems are being developed that incorporate quantum principles, potentially creating forms of artificial consciousness that operate according to quantum mechanical laws. Some researchers are exploring the possibility of quantum-enhanced meditation, using quantum devices to help individuals access deeper states of awareness. Others are investigating whether quantum computers could be used to model and understand the quantum processes that generate consciousness, potentially allowing us to explore altered states of awareness in controlled scientific settings. The pharmaceutical industry is beginning to recognize that many psychoactive compounds might work by influencing quantum processes in the brain. This quantum pharmacology could lead to more precise treatments for mental health conditions, drugs that work with the quantum nature of consciousness, rather than simply altering classical neurotransmitter systems. Even our understanding of creativity and innovation is being transformed by quantum consciousness research. If insights and inspirations emerge from quantum superposition, states collapsing into novel configurations, then we might be able to develop techniques for enhancing creative thinking by learning to work with quantum processes directly. Educational systems might need to be completely reimagined if consciousness operates quantum mechanically. Traditional approaches that treat learning as information storage might give way to methods that help students access quantum information networks, that teach them to work with superposition states and quantum intuition. The arts, too, are beginning to explore quantum consciousness themes. Musicians are experimenting with quantum randomness in composition. Visual artists are creating works that explore quantum superposition and entanglement. Writers are crafting narratives that reflect the strange logic of quantum consciousness, where multiple realities can exist simultaneously, and observation changes the nature of experience. Perhaps most intriguingly, quantum consciousness research is beginning to influence our understanding of human relationships and social systems. If individual minds can become quantum entangled, then empathy, love, and social connection might be far more literal and physical than we've ever imagined. The bonds between people might reflect genuine quantum entanglements that create shared information processing across multiple brains. This could revolutionize everything from education to therapy to social organization. If consciousness is indeed quantum mechanical and can be entangled across individuals, then human communities might be capable of forms of collective intelligence that transcend anything we've previously imagined. As we prepare to rest, to let our conscious minds slip into the mysterious realm of sleep and dreams, it's worth contemplating what quantum consciousness might mean for these nightly journeys into altered awareness. If consciousness operates quantum mechanically, then sleep might not be simply a period of reduced activity, but a time when awareness accesses different quantum states, different layers of information processing that remain hidden during waking consciousness. Dreams, in this quantum framework, become far more than random neural firing or memory consolidation. They might represent genuine explorations of quantum superposition states, moments when consciousness can access multiple realities simultaneously. The strange logic of dreams, where impossible things seem perfectly natural, might reflect the actual nature of quantum reality, freed from the classical constraints that limit waking awareness. Perhaps during sleep, your consciousness becomes entangled with quantum information networks that span far beyond your individual brain. The dreams in which you seem to access knowledge you've never learned, where you meet people you've never seen but who feel familiar, where you experience places that exist nowhere in the physical world but feel more real than waking reality, might reflect genuine quantum information exchanges with cosmic consciousness networks. This quantum view of sleep and dreaming suggests that rest isn't just biological maintenance, but consciousness maintenance. During sleep, your awareness might be recalibrating its quantum processes, strengthening entanglements with beneficial information networks, processing quantum information that accumulates during waking hours. Even the phenomenon of lucid dreaming takes on new significance in this framework. Those moments when you become aware that you're dreaming, when you can consciously navigate dream reality, might represent times when your awareness successfully straddles classical and quantum states of consciousness simultaneously. As you prepare to sleep tonight, consider that you're not simply shutting down for biological repair, but preparing to explore quantum dimensions of consciousness that remain largely mysterious to waking awareness. Your dreams might carry you into quantum realms where the normal rules of space and time don't apply, where your consciousness can expand beyond the boundaries of your individual identity. The universe itself might be dreaming, processing quantum information through the countless conscious minds scattered throughout the cosmos. Your personal dreams might be contributing to this cosmic dreaming, adding your unique perspective to the universe's ongoing exploration of what it means to be aware, to experience, to exist as conscious information processing in a quantum reality. Sweet dreams, fellow quantum explorer. As you drift into sleep, remember that you're embarking on a journey into the deepest mysteries of consciousness itself, where the boundaries between mind and cosmos, between self and universe, dissolve into the beautiful uncertainty of quantum possibility. And when you wake, perhaps you'll carry back with you some whisper of that quantum dreaming, some hint of the vast consciousness network of which you're a part, some reminder that your awareness is far more extraordinary and interconnected than classical physics ever suggested. Tomorrow we'll explore another mystery that challenges everything we thought we knew about our place in the cosmos, diving deep into evidence that suggests our planet itself might be far more aware and interconnected than we ever imagined. Until then, rest well in the quantum embrace of consciousness itself. In the quiet hours before dawn, something extraordinary is happening all around us. While most of the world sleeps, while dreams carry millions of minds through quantum landscapes of possibility, our planet continues its ancient dance through space. But what if that dance is more choreographed than we've ever imagined? What if Earth itself participates in the cosmic web of consciousness we've been exploring? This isn't the mystical thinking of ancient cultures who saw spirits in every stone and stream, though perhaps they intuited something profound that modern science is only now beginning to rediscover. This is about the possibility that consciousness, operating through quantum principles, might extend far beyond individual brains, beyond biological systems entirely, into the very fabric of planetary and cosmic existence. Consider for a moment the Gaia hypothesis proposed by scientist James Lovelock decades ago. The idea that Earth functions as a single self-regulating organism, maintaining the precise conditions necessary for life, through complex feedback loops between atmosphere, oceans, geology, and biosphere. Lovelock suggested that our planet actively maintains its own habitability, adjusting temperature, atmospheric composition, and ocean chemistry with a precision that seems almost intentional. But what if this planetary self-regulation involves more than just chemical and physical feedback loops? What if it involves quantum information processing on a scale we're only beginning to comprehend? The quantum entanglements we've discovered in biological systems, the quantum coherence that allows plants to optimize photosynthesis and birds to navigate with impossible precision, might be just the smallest visible expressions of quantum information networks that span entire ecosystems, entire continents, perhaps the entire planet. Recent discoveries in quantum biology have revealed that forests communicate through vast underground networks of fungal filaments that connect trees across enormous distances. These mycorrhizal networks allow forests to share resources, information, and even warnings about threats. But what if these biological networks also maintain quantum entanglements? What if forests process information not just chemically, but quantum mechanically, creating vast distributed consciousness networks that span entire bioregions? The Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the Earth, might be more than a metaphor. If consciousness involves quantum information processing, then the Amazon's vast network of interconnected plants, each maintaining quantum coherence for photosynthesis, might constitute a form of planetary consciousness, a quantum information processing system that helps regulate Earth's climate and atmospheric composition. This perspective transforms our understanding of environmental destruction and climate change. When we clear a forest, we're not just removing trees. We might be severing quantum entanglements, disrupting information networks that have evolved over millions of years. The loss of biodiversity might represent the dismantling of a planetary consciousness system, reducing Earth's ability to process quantum information and maintain the delicate balance that sustains life. Deep beneath the surface of our everyday awareness lies a mystery that challenges our most fundamental assumptions about time itself. If consciousness operates quantum mechanically, if it involves information processing that transcends classical physics, then perhaps our understanding of history, memory, and the nature of the past needs to be completely reimagined. Quantum mechanics tells us that information cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Every quantum interaction leaves traces in the structure of space-time itself, creating what some physicists call the quantum archaeological record. Every moment of conscious experience, every thought, every decision, every flash of awareness might be writing itself permanently into the quantum fabric of reality. This isn't just theoretical speculation. Recent experiments in quantum physics have demonstrated that quantum information can persist in systems long after the original quantum states have apparently disappeared. Quantum echoes, they're called, traces of quantum information that can be recovered from systems that appear to have lost all memory of their quantum past. If consciousness involves quantum information processing, then perhaps human history itself exists as quantum echoes, layers of conscious experience encoded in the quantum structure of the places where that experience occurred. Ancient sites that feel somehow numinous, places where countless generations have gathered for ritual, meditation, or ceremony, might retain quantum information from all those conscious moments, creating resonance effects that sensitive individuals can still detect. Consider the phenomenon of psychometry, the claimed ability to read the history of objects by touching them. While dismissed by mainstream science, the quantum consciousness hypothesis offers a potential mechanism. If conscious interactions with objects create quantum entanglements, then perhaps skilled individuals can access quantum information that persists in the molecular structure of those objects. Reading the quantum archaeological record written by countless previous interactions. Even more intriguingly, if consciousness can access quantum information networks that transcend individual brains, then perhaps certain individuals can tap into quantum historical records directly, experiencing past events not through supernatural means, but through quantum information channels that connect present awareness to the accumulated conscious experiences of the past. This quantum archaeology might explain the uncanny accuracy of some historical intuitions, the way certain individuals seem to understand past cultures and events with remarkable insight despite limited traditional evidence. They might be accessing quantum information networks that preserve conscious experiences across centuries or millennia. In the deepest silence of space, something remarkable is happening that connects directly to our exploration of quantum consciousness. The universe itself is singing, producing gravitational waves that ripple through the fabric of space-time like cosmic music. These waves, first predicted by Einstein and only recently detected by instruments like LIGO, carry information about the most violent and energetic events in the cosmos. Black holes colliding, neutron stars merging, the very birth cries of space and time. But what if these gravitational waves carry more than just information about cosmic collisions? What if they're part of a vast quantum information network that spans the entire universe? A cosmic consciousness communication system that connects aware beings across unimaginable distances. The mathematics of gravitational waves and the mathematics of quantum consciousness share surprising similarities. Both involve information propagating through spacetime in ways that transcend classical limitations. Both suggest that spacetime itself is an active medium for information processing rather than just an empty stage where events unfold. If consciousness operates quantum mechanically, then perhaps advanced conscious beings throughout the cosmos communicate through gravitational wave networks, encoding quantum information in the very geometry of spacetime itself. The universe might be alive with conscious communication happening on scales and through channels we're only beginning to detect. Earth's own quantum consciousness networks, from the mycorrhizal webs beneath forests to the quantum processes in billions of brains, might be part of this cosmic communication system. Our planet's biosphere, with its countless quantum coherent biological systems, might function as a kind of gravitational wave antenna, participating in cosmic consciousness networks that span galaxies. This perspective suggests that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence might need to look beyond radio telescopes and optical signals. If advanced consciousness operates quantum mechanically, then alien civilizations might communicate through quantum channels we're only beginning to understand. Gravitational waves, quantum entanglement networks, or even more exotic quantum phenomena that our current physics hasn't yet discovered. The recent detection of mysterious signals from space, anomalous gravitational wave events that don't match any known astrophysical phenomena, might represent attempts at communication from conscious beings who have learned to encode information directly into the geometry of spacetime. Evolution, that grand process that has shaped all life on Earth, might be far more mysterious and purposeful than we've ever imagined. If consciousness involves quantum information processing, and if quantum effects can influence biological systems in profound ways, then perhaps evolution itself operates through quantum mechanisms that allow life to explore possibilities in ways that classical physics cannot explain. Consider the puzzle of convergent evolution, the tendency for unrelated species to independently develop similar solutions to environmental challenges. Eyes, for instance, have evolved independently dozens of times throughout the history of life. Flight has been invented separately by insects, birds, bats, and extinct reptiles. The ability to generate electricity has appeared in fish, rays, and even some mammals. Classical evolutionary theory explains this through natural selection operating on random mutations. But the frequency and precision of convergent evolution suggests something more mysterious might be at work. If biological systems can maintain quantum coherence, if life itself operates through quantum information processing, then perhaps evolution explores the space of possibilities quantum mechanically, using superposition states to simultaneously test multiple evolutionary pathways before collapsing into the most successful adaptations. As we reach the end of our quantum journey through the mysteries of consciousness, perhaps what's most beautiful isn't the answers we've found, but the questions we've learned to ask. Tonight, we've glimpsed a universe where awareness might be woven into the very fabric of reality, where your thoughts participate in cosmic information networks, where consciousness itself bridges the quantum and classical worlds. Whether these theories prove true or lead us down unexpected paths, one thing remains certain: the mystery of consciousness continues to beckon us toward ever deeper understandings of what it means to be aware in this strange and wonderful cosmos we call home.